Hey, what's going on, good people? Treveal C.W. Lynch, Mr. What? Mr. Iamthepossible. And I help people to see what they are so they can like what they see. Listen, I want to welcome you guys if you're live or if you're on the replay. As I always say, your presence literally is the greatest present that you can ever offer, that you can ever extend, that you could ever give anyone. So if you are rocking with me live or on the replay, I want to thank you guys for joining me. Your life, your existence, your presence is precious to me. Today I want to share a true story, and I want to really specifically speak to my brothers, to men. So if you are a man, thanks for joining. And if you know a man, if you're a woman and you know a man that might be struggling with self-esteem, they might be struggling with how they feel about themselves. They might be struggling with, living up to or being good enough of a father, and perhaps even a husband, because this also would apply, right? Because we have those same emotions. So just want to allow a few more minutes for people to join. Good morning. How you doing there, Bonnie? Good morning to you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for rocking with me. I appreciate your presence. True story. I suck at being a dad. I suck at being a dad. How can I say that with a smile on my face, right? Well, that was my take on it, right? That was the way I felt for a long time. I struggled with being a father, and it wasn't because I wasn't present. It wasn't because I wasn't in the home. It wasn't because I wasn't working and working hard. It wasn't because I wasn't putting food on the table. It wasn't because I wasn't putting a roof over their heads, as we say, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, food on the table. That's sort of the mantra that men kind of grow up with, depending on, the context in which they're raised. But it's this idea, especially in America, that we, as a man, we have to feed our family, clothe our family, and provide, right? Keep that roof over their heads. And so I was doing all of those things. In fact, I was loving them. I was praying for them every day, doing everything, going to church, being a good Christian. I was like, I had all the check marks marked off, but I never felt good enough. I had checked all the boxes of being a good father, of being a good dad. I wasn't beating my children. I wasn't abusing my children. I didn't call them out their names. They weren't going through some emotional, roller coaster because I was being so evil in the home. None of those things applied. Here's the thing. And this may be what a lot of men struggle with. I know I struggle with it. Okay, so I'll tell my testimony. I struggled with comparing myself to the ideal of fatherhood. I struggled with comparing myself to the Hollywood father. For example, I was just having a conversation with my family yesterday, right? So we're all locked in, we're all shut in, so there's plenty of time to talk. And if you guys don't know, I have 4 children, 4 beautiful, fantastic children. I love them to death. I love them to life. But they're 4 beautiful, amazing children. And so my wife and I were sitting around and we're having this conversation, and I shared with them how I struggled for many years with feeling like I was a good enough father to them, like I was a good enough dad for them. And my son says something that, and I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but my son says something that just blessed my heart. He says, Dad, I think that you're being, like a better dad, like the best dad, by being who you are, by being the way that you are. And this is what I mean by that, because I was kind of jumping ahead a little bit. I struggle with the ideal of fatherhood. And so I would watch like Hollywood movies, and the dad, for example, the dad would be this character in a movie or a sitcom or something, right? And he would always take his kids out to the ballpark, let's just say. Every Saturday, the kids and dad would jump in the minivan, and they head out to the ballpark, and the father would fully engage his children, and they be playing ball, and you see these images of them loving each other and smiling and playing with each other and throwing the ball back and forth. And it was this amazing picture of a man engaging with his children in sports or some sort of outside activity. Another example, Hollywood always portrays these images of a good father as like the father would pull up in the driveway after coming home from work or something like that. He'd open up the door and the kids would, daddy, daddy, and they come running up and they jump and give him a hug, and he'd embrace them, and he'd sit down at the table and he'd be doing homework with them, and it was just this loving embrace, right? Well, I never had that. I never had the moment where I opened up the door and, my 4 children come running up, daddy, daddy, I never was the father that took my kids on a consistent basis. We would do it every now and then, but not on a consistent basis. I didn't take them to the ballpark. I didn't do a lot of outside physical activities with my children. Because that's just not who I am in that aspect. I mean, I like to work out, I'm about fitness, but in terms of like that ideal, and this is what I want to get across, I had an ideal. I had a picture perfect, photoshopped image of fatherhood. And let me just be even more transparent. I got brothers in my life, my Pastor Kerwin Manning, Tony Johnson, another brother. He was actually a part of my testimony in terms of my weight loss. Tony Johnson. And there's just other men in my life. Those 2 just kind of come to mind right now. But there have been other fathers in my life, other men in my life, where I look at their example of fatherhood and I was like, yo, man, that's what being a dad looks like. That's what a father looks like. But I kept wrestling and struggling and secretly having this weight on my shoulders, like why can't I do that consistently? Why can't I be like Tony and sit down with my kids every day, and spend hours with homework? Why can't I be like Pastor Kerwin? Why can't I, joke and play and take my kids, here and there and everywhere? And, why am I not able to do that? Even though I see the example, even though that's who I really want to be, why am I not able to do that? And I struggle with that secretly. I just did not feel like I was a good enough father. Now, again, if you're just now joining me, I didn't beat my kids. I didn't abuse my kids. I didn't do anything physical or psychological in terms of what we would consider doing bad things to my children. I did none of them. In fact, I've been working since 13. I ain't never not had a job since 13. Putting food on the table, putting clothes on their back, roof over their head, providing the best possible educational opportunities, Again, all the check marks to what someone from the outside looking in would consider to be, hey, you're doing pretty good as a father, right? You're present, you're in the home, you're loving them, you're praying for them, you're talking with them, all of those things. But it did not matter because I did not think that I was good enough. I thought I sucked at being a dad until this revelation, epiphany, and it was even a part of what I shared and what I was working through as I wrote my new book, What Is Enough? Because that's really what that book is all about. It's this idea of coming to this revelation of I am enough just as I am. And so going back to what TJ, my oldest son, said yesterday, as I was explaining to him how I never lived up to this ideal of being a father, he says something so profound. He says, Dad, I think you're being a better father than those fathers. And I get what he was saying. And he was certainly trying to comfort me as a father. And he was certainly trying to love me as a son. But what I got from that, which linked to the revelation that I, already had, was that, and this is what I learned. This is really what I wanted to share. I share all of that backstory to get to this point. If you are a father, a dad, a man, and you're live, I'm talking to you. If I have women on here and you know a man, or even if it's your husband or somebody else that you know, and they're wrestling and struggling with being what they would consider right? Because again, this was not an outside issue. This was an internal issue. This was about me feeling like I was enough. So if you know somebody, or perhaps you suspect somebody in your life, in your ecosystem that may be struggling with this as a man, I would ask that you would share this out, or that you would just notify them that this video is available for what I'm about to say. The revelation that I received is that every family is uniquely designed to receive you as a father as you are. What do I mean by that? I am an educator. My strength, my superpower is education, communication, right? Being able to convey, being able to communicate, being able to articulate words, ideas, concepts. If you've watched any of my other videos, you guys know that one of my core beliefs is that I am my creator's communication channel. I believe by faith that I literally tap into the frequency of heaven like a radio channel. I can tap into the frequency of heaven and communicate the wisdom and the love and the appreciation and the acceptance of humanity from God, our creator, through the things that I am to share, through the things that I am to write, right? I've written 2 books. I preach, I teach, I speak, I educate. That's my superpower. That's not a brag. That's to show and to say to you how you are designed as a father, as a man. The way that God created you, the way that your creator crafted you is dope, awesome, fantastic, amazing, phenomenal for your family's context. Your children need for you to be just as you are. See, I didn't need to be the take them to the ballpark dad. I don't need to be the whatever ideals I had. You know, I need to be taking them to the ballpark. I need to be, ripping and running and taking them here and there and everywhere. I need to be sitting down at the table with them for, 2-3 hours every single night doing homework like Tony. Or I need to be, getting them involved in sports and different things like, PK. Nah. I need to be me. Just like you need to be you. You are the perfect father for your family's context. Every family is not the same. And side note, FYI, Hollywood is an ideal. It is perfection. It is whatever that character looks like. Them people have trained and them people have taken courses, and the script has been written to portray something very unique, very specific to that context. If you are a father, let me give you permission to be exactly how you are. Now, you may not be able to see the dividends, right? Almost like sowing seed in the ground. We talk about sowing seed and sowing those seeds, where the Bible talks about raising a child as they should go, and in the later years they will not stray far from it. It's this idea that as fathers we need to, and we get the opportunity and the privilege to sow seed in our children. Sometimes, we may never see that seed grow. We may, and I'm not trying to go on some negative, tip, but we may pass away before those seeds grow. We may not be able to literally visually see what our seeds are doing. But the faith is that as a father, I am who I am supposed to be for the betterment of my family. Your family has a context, and your family has a way of being. Your family, your children, they were created and designed to do certain things and to be certain things and to express themselves in certain ways. And I'm just saying, explore the possibility that how you are is conducive to that growth, to that construction. It's like our family is under construction and you are conducive to that construction. If I was trying to be like Pastor Kerwin, if I was trying to be like Tony, if I was trying to be like somebody else that I'm not, then my family is actually missing out not only on the best part of me, got some light going, not only the best part of me, but they're not going to get what they need through me as a father, because they're no longer getting my superpowers. Now they're getting some cookie cutter. Now they're getting some secondhand rate version of somebody else. Because again, remember, I was comparing myself. For years, I was comparing myself. I don't look like that dad. I don't do it like that dad. My relationship with my children, how come it don't look like that Hollywood father? How come it don't look like PK? How come it don't look like Tony? How come it don't look like the brothers that I look up to? Well, see, as much as they look up to me, guess what I found out? Oh, I'm sorry. As much as I looked up to them, guess what I found out? They were looking up to me. Because we all have unique superpowers, man. We all got unique things that God has invested within us that are gifts to give to our family. You guys know that I believe to my very core, a part of my philosophy, right, is that we were created to not only give a contribution or to make a contribution, we were created to be a contribution. And the revelation that I had was the way that I am is perfect for who they need to be, for what they need to receive, for this family's, infrastructure, for this family environment. Me just naturally being the way I am was most conducive to that. Because me trying to be like anyone else and trying to do like, me trying to do anything else would have not blessed them, would have not strengthened them, would have not given them what they needed. Brothers, if you're feeling like your children are maybe missing out on something, they're not. If you're that dad who's working hard, providing food on their table, clothes on their back, roof over their head, you're not abusing them, you're not tearing them down emotionally. I mean, real talk, you know when you're doing something you ain't supposed to be doing. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the dad who, with all sincerity, you have been doing the freaking best you can do. You've been hustling, you've been grinding, you've been loving your kids, you've been doing the best you know how to do. Sometimes we just doing the best that we know how to do. Trust that. Trust that your best is enough. Trust that they're learning and they're grasping and they're getting everything that they need from the person that you're being. Maybe a little bit of this is faith. I said it was a revelation. I don't have a textbook to go to. I don't have a course to lead you to. This is just me sharing my personal story. It was just this idea that as an educator, they need to be educated. My kids need to learn some lessons. My kids need structure in their life. My kids need discipline in their life. And I have been able to consistently provide that for them. Well, maybe I didn't provide for them some of those other things that I looked up to, but there's outlets and I can provide things for them and I can provide mentors around them. I can get them into sports. In fact, several of my kids were, involved in school sports and things such as that. So I'm able to fund and provide the environment for them to do some of those things that I'm not equipped for. For example, my son plays football. He's going to be playing football next year. I'm not a great football player. Now, I can train him physically at the gym because I am a personal trainer, so I can train him in that aspect. But I sit my son down with so much confidence and say, son, I can train you physically, but I have no value when it comes to football training. That's an example of now this newfound confidence in me to say, I can't help you there, son. That's not who dad is. Now, here's what dad can do. I can sign you up and I can get you a football coach. I can put you in front of some people that know a little bit more about football. I can do that for you. But I no longer carry the burden. I no longer carry the weight of having to be all things dad, because none of us are. We have very specific strengths, very specific talents, very specific giftings, and our family needs that. We can fund the other stuff. We can, as they say, outsource the other stuff. But I want to speak to the fathers, to the brothers, to the men this morning. I pray that this made sense. It wasn't scripted. I didn't have my 3 points. I didn't have my 10 steps. I just wanted to share my heart, man, and just let you know that as one who's been there, who's carried that weight, I see you. I know you. My heart's been crushed. My heart's been broken so many times. I have defeated myself within so many times. Again, this was a burden that I was carrying in secret. I didn't even tell my wife. It was just something that I just carried around. Like, dude, I'm just I'm doing everything I can do, but because I was comparing myself. And so if there's anything that I want to encourage you guys in as I close down, comparisons kill, man. Comparisons literally, I like to say comparisons choke out the contributions that we were created to be. I'll say that again. Comparisons, comparing yourself. And it's always an unfair fight. When you compare yourself, it's always an unfair fight. You always set yourself up for failure. Why? Because they're not you and you're not them. So so the moment you even fix yourself to compare yourself, you're already losing. You're already losing. You're already taking 2 steps back. Because they're not you and you're not them, and they're enough as they are and you're enough as you are, and you're both enough. But through this culture of comparisons, through this culture of idealisms, through this culture of Hollywood photoshopped everything, we can easily, as dads, as fathers, get caught up in looking at that. Again, my examples, Hollywood, the movies and them sitcoms, I wasn't that dude, man. And I don't need to be that dude. And then I was looking at brothers that I look up to, you know, mentors in my life, and how they interacted with their kids. And again, that was a wrong comparison, because they're not me and I'm not them, and they're enough as they are and I'm enough as I am. Because as I was looking up to them and marveling at how fantastic of a father they was, they at different points in times when we were hanging out or whatever, we would have church events or something like that, and we would just get into little conversations, they would reveal to me how they were looking up to me as well. So part revelation, part just over time through conversations, it just kept sinking in until I had that light bulb go off. I don't need to be anything other than what I am. It's this trust in my Creator's design. It's this trust that nothing is by chance. It's this trust that nothing just happens. It's this trust that we are so uniquely, that we are so perfectly, that we are so amazingly, that we are so fantastically created, designed, crafted, that I'm going to take stock in believing that how I am is what my father, is what my children need, is what my wife needs as a husband. I'm going to take stock in that. That works for me. That serves me well. The comparisons don't serve me. They were choking me out. I couldn't be a good contribution. I couldn't be my best contribution because I kept self-suffocating. I kept choking myself out by comparing myself. Again, when you compare yourself, you are setting yourself up for failure. You're already losing. The minute you set up to compare, you're already losing, because you're not them and they're not you. And you are equally and separately enough, just as you are. So I want to encourage you guys, man. I know it's hard. We're always watching TV, going to the movies. It's very hard to see those perfect images of fatherhood, whether it's in your real, life, or whether it's on television. I get it, because I was that guy. I've been there. I've done that, and I got the T-shirt. I got 2 of them. So I get what it means to feel like I'm doing everything I know to do, and it's never enough. Never enough. I did all of that, and you still got this gut questioning. Was that good enough? Are they happy now? Are they satisfied now? Are they happy with me? I get it, guys. That's why I wanted to just shoot from the heart and share what I shared. I pray that this blesses you guys, man. I pray that some of it made sense. As a communicator, we like to be prepared and know what we're going to share, man. But this is just one of those ones I woke up this morning with on my heart, and just had to get it out of me. So, again, if you are a father and this blessed you, awesome, man. I'm happy to encourage and share my life and share some of my struggles, and pray that it connects and means something to you. Again, if you are a father, or if you know a father, share this out. Just let people know that it's available, or tag them, or just let them know, hey man, go check out this video. This ain't about me. This is about my contribution, and a part of it is just sharing my story and sharing where I was and sharing where I am. It's still a daily decision. I still have to decide daily to get up and declare I'm enough. I have to get up every day. Yep, today I'm enough. Yep, today I'm enough. Yep, my contribution today, that's enough. Yep, they're good. Yep, I'm having an impact. Yep, I'm having influence. Yep, I'm doing the best I can, and my best, it's enough. Yep. So I pray that does something for you, man. I didn't shut down about 3 different times, so I think this is the real one. Got to get out here and do my prayer walk. So as I close out, as I'm about to go do my prayer walk, you guys know I'm a praying man. So if you need prayer, want prayer, I'm gonna pray for you anyway. But it would be super dope if you just want that prayer, just want me to know that you want that prayer. Drop me the little emoji praying hands if you're live or on the replay. It doesn't matter whether you're watching me now or you're watching me later. But just drop that prayer. You ain't got to explain what you need prayer on, but just know that someone's in your corner, someone's lifting you up, someone's loving on you, believing in you, and going before God, our creator, on your behalf. So if you want that prayer, drop that emoji. Let me know that you want that prayer, and I'll be lifting up your name specifically to our creator, to our Father, to our God this morning, believing God's very best for you, whether you're struggling in fatherhood or struggling in any other area in your life, man. I probably can relate. So I wanna petition our God on your behalf, and I want to send out them good vibes, man. So love y'all, man. Believing in y'all, praying for y'all, man. This is Treveal C.W. Lynch, Mr. What, reminding you, know your what? Know your worth. Peace.